everyone. Welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld, and here are 3.2 things to pay attention to for the upcoming trading week. Why did he say 0.2? Well, I got to start things off with earnings as we like to do. However, there's 255 companies reporting this week, and shockingly, there is only one company. And normally I wouldn't even report that one, but I thought, you know what? It's a fairly big name out there, so let's bring it up on Monday. That's right, on Monday only, Oracle. After that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, goose eggs. Now, there are a bunch of international companies reporting earnings, but they're very inconsistent on how they report, so there is your 0.2. Now let's move on to the more important stuff, get to the nuts and bolts of what's going to be driving this week, particularly those of you who are trading the euro or anything related to the euro. Why? Well, as you may see here by this graphic, Christine Lagarde, who is the president of the ECB, is going to be making some statements at an ECB press conference. That's Thursday at 8:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Also speaking will be the Vice President, Luis de Guindos. Now, of course, this doesn't guarantee that the markets are going to go anywhere. However, statements about foreign policy, domestic policy, interest rates, cryptocurrencies could come up during that discussion, which could create a lot of waves around the financial markets, not just in the euro, but of course, if you are trading Forex and you look at that euro, be careful, could be a wild mover. All right, now let's move on to things that are more domestic. We'll bring it back to the United States and talk about inflation. Oh my goodness, Merlin, here we go again with the inflation discussion. Yes, we're going to start with inflation. Why? Because we've got two announcements happening this week and a lot of speculation about where it is going to go. We start things off with the consumer price index numbers. That's going to be happening Wednesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can see the current chart right now shows that the most recent reading of U.S. inflation is at 0.2%. Now, all in all, that's not that bad. We've gotten back down to manageable levels. But the recent uptick we saw in some of the core PCE price index numbers has people feeling that we may see the CPI number increase a little bit on Wednesday. But we've got a twofer this week. We also have on Thursday the producer price index coming out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can see that it has been on a very different trajectory. The last three bars on PPI have been showing a sharp increase, whereas the last three on the CPI on the top have been rather sideways. So all in all, there's no real clear direction as to which way it's going to go. Now, let's focus on not the month over month. So both these measurements you see here are month over month change, but let's take a peek at the year over year change. So this is consumer price index numbers, which of course represents U.S. inflation. They also were released at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, the year over year numbers. And as you can see here, it's been ticking up. We have one tick up to 3.2%, and depending on who you talk to, there are quite a few people who believe that's going to jump even higher, even though we've had this tremendous downtrend, right? A nice relief in overall inflation, but still not back to those levels that you see on the left-hand side of your chart back in 2016 and 17, but we're getting pretty darn close. So the inflation discussion will rage on as that announcement comes out on Wednesday. I think that's probably the most important one. It's going to be the CPI number on Wednesday, both the month over month and year over year will give us a better idea as to where we stand with inflation and where the Fed may be going with interest rates at the September 20th FOMC meeting. All right, let's continue on with the U.S. economic data. I'm going to jump things back over to the calendar and we'll look at retail sales. Now, the reason I bring up retail sales is if you look on the hard red edge here, it seems to be rather flat. However, over the past 6 months, we have been showing a slight uptrend. And all in all, that is fairly good news, right? We want to see more retail consumption. That's more spending. That's more job growth. That's more income and better for the economy. Now, of course, as the historical numbers would show you, if I went further back here, getting to 0.7 isn't exactly a high number. Now, we'll see if this continues on as that announcement rolls out on Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. But all in all, makes for a fairly interesting week for those of you in the domestic markets because of CPI, PPI, and retail sales. You also have some manufacturing data coming out for the U.S., which I did not put on here. And of course, for those of you trading the euro, you have some big news happening with that ECB press conference and Christine Lagarde and her comments. So that, my friends, is your Monday Morning Must Knows. We'll see you next week.